So I'm Lee Ingram, and I've written the book Dig Deep, which is a book of poetry.
Okay, so what inspired you to explore your personal and mental health through poetry?
I've written poetry all my life since I was about... I've written poetry since I was about 10 or 11. I was given a book initially by my mum, several books, which were Pam Ayres books originally in the late 70s, early 80s. And that just triggered poetry in me. I didn't think about it, it just happened. I just suddenly started writing. And it was all humorous back then, because she was a poet of a lot of humour. But then, you leave school, go into the real world, and the issues become a lot deeper and such. But I'd been writing a lot of quotes for years, and I put them into a book before this. But that was more of a personal project to test myself when I was ill. I became really ill, and I had to slow down on everything I was doing. 2 chronic conditions that really slowed me down. So I done it as a personal project to see if I could actually do a book, see if I could write a book, and I did, with quotes. And somebody said you ought to. I don't know why you put that into. You should put that into a book. So I was putting them out online on social media and stuff, the quotes. And so the same thing with a book. I then, with the second book, a full book of poetry, which I've never done. I've only done quotes before. So it's just the same thinking as that. If I can put the quotes into a book form, then the poems as well, I can also do that. So I did. I just went for it not so much a personal one. This one, it was just on a proper level of really going to go for it with full poetry, and get it out there as a book to show to the wider audience, because the other one was just more personal.
Okay, so was there any particular moment to do with your personal life or patriotism that made you think, right, I'm going to put it all on a book?
After the first one, yeah, I knew after the first book of just quotes that I did, which is called English Word Weaving. After that, I knew, hey, you've done that. That was a personal project. Now let's see if you can do this properly as a more public project, and go for it after that. Yeah.
Any poems that you found difficult to include that were personal to you, that was difficult to put out there?
Yeah. You get lots of that at first. Put it this way, I've been writing, like I say, since a kid, and once I started writing the serious stuff as a mid-teens to late teens, it was very personal. It was all to show anybody your poetry. So it was very difficult to start putting that out there.
Did you find that putting the book out there with poems regarding mental health helped with it? Did it give you some sort of healing process?
Yeah, it does with a lot of people. It's almost like talking. If you talk it out. So yeah, definitely, it helps to put it in writing. And if I met anybody that was suffering with mental health, I would always say, have you tried putting it in writing? Even just an outlet, it lets it out. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Okay, so doing that, then, did you discover anything new about yourself?
Yeah, that I'm far more positive these days. When I was first writing the poems, when they lost a lot of the humour and it became more of the serious issues, it was very dark. But now a lot of my poems, I seem to get a bit of hope in there, and a bit of trying to help people show a bit of endurance and pull through and dig deep, basically, which is the title of the book.
What does patriotism mean to you, and how does it appear in your book?
What does patriotism mean to me? That means a hell of a lot. It's like a natural human instinct, I think, in humans. We're all tribal. We're all communal animals. So I think it's just very natural. I think if you've not got that in you, I find it quite unnatural in people. And how does it come out in the book? It comes out in poetry, which I'm very pleased with. You can feel the struggle in the poems, but there is also the ray of hope there.
All right, so the patriotic poems, were they influenced by anything, by current events, or is it a long-rooted belief?
I think living through mass immigration in Leicester, being sort of on the front line of it, because I used to be a very active campaigner on issues concerning English identity and mass immigration, etc. So it was very personal in that sense, and it came from a lot of feelings and that I was going through at that time, and still do, although I've had to calm down because of my illness. But from 2007 to 2016, whilst in between those years, Leicester was becoming to have an English minority. So I felt it all very personally, but I'm happy with what I've written, and I hope it gets across the struggle and also the hope.
So over the years, and you've obviously created lots of poetry, growing up from a young lad to now. I imagine there's lots of notes littered around with various quotes and phrases on.
Yeah.
So how did you choose which poems made it into the final book?
Yeah, that was difficult at first, because I was used to writing quotes because of the exact same scenario what you just said. I would find that I would have little verses here and there, or even just one small quote. I'd got all these quotes about the house on paper, and then as we come into the modern realm of things, obviously they're in my phone and things like that. I just sensed that these could easily become poems. So then a natural process was just, after the first book of quotes, I just went, right, let's go with the poems that I used. I used to write the poems a lot when I was younger, and it was more, it turned into more quotes when I got older, with these little bits bobbed around the place, all over the house, sort of thing. But yeah, some of them were put together, or it would start from that one quote, and it would just finish. And I never plan it; it just comes from nowhere. It just, God knows where it comes from. It just comes, and from even one quote can start it in the mind at that time, and then I can have a poem finished within, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then sometimes it will just be longer. It take a lot of work. I'll just pick a quote up, and sometimes I'll go from there, finding a quote, and it can take days then sometimes.
Okay, so did you experiment with different types and different styles of poetry?
My style has always been unique. It's just very natural. I've never followed official styles of poetry.
Okay, so how do you know a poem is done? When do you think, we'll leave that there? Do you ever add to it once you think it's finished? Or
yeah, again, that just feels very natural. It's just something that happens. It's poetry. I always feel it's just something that happens to me, and you'll sit and you'll write, and it'll end. When it ends, it's very natural, the process.
So you've got a book there in front of you.
Yeah.
It's called Dig Deep, and there's a remarkable picture that I don't recognise. How did you choose the title of the book and the cover design?
The cover design is The Lady of the Mercians, which is connected to Leicester, because in early England, she became a queen at one point of the Mercia area, mainly. I think it was. She was the daughter of King Alfred. There is a statue of her in Leicester, but this one is quite a lot better, I think, than that one. So yeah, she was like a warrior queen, if you like, or warrior princess even. She was at one point. There's debate to whether she was a princess or a queen at the time. She had to lead and be a warrior, and she fought off the Vikings invading into the Mercia area, which included Leicester. The title, I went through several titles at first, all connected to battling on and digging deep. Battle On was going to be a title at one point, but I had seen that there was another book with Battle On, so I changed it and eventually came with Dig Deep, just something to resonate with the feeling of having to dig deep with, let's say, mental health struggles in life, and also with the patriotic side of me and what is happening to England today.
Okay, so the poetry and the content aside, what was the biggest challenge in putting the collection together?
Editing. Choosing the right poems, choosing the poems that you're satisfied with, If you was an artist, you would only hang your very best work, and if you're a poet, you're only going to try and publish your very best work again. So that was hard. The editing process I found really hard. Next time I would hope to do a book of all patriotic poems, and I would hope to get to 100 and release a book of 100 patriotic poems. But this has got quite a lot of patriotism in it, poem wise, which I'm happy about. I'm not afraid to deal with that and put that information out there as poems as well.
Okay, so who do you imagine then? What type of audience do you imagine reading this book?
Oh God, well, that's a good one. I don't know. I'm intrigued. Myself, I've always written sort of dark poetry, but it's always dark. But it's always there's a dark backdrop all the time. There's a darkness and there's a struggle in the poems, but there's always some hope being thrown in there, even a little bit of wit at times. But there's always a lot of hope and perseverance and trying to dig deep and encouraging others to dig deep. So maybe some people may be attracted to it if they're struggling with mental health, if they pick up on that issue. Maybe people that have been alternative in life. I've always been alternative and always listened to music in that sense. It's always been quite maudlin, quite dark, and I've always been drawn to songs that are melancholy. And that's kind of in my poetry as well. So obviously I was a Smiths fan when I was young, and then a Morrissey fan in later life, and loved all the indie music, which was a lot of that could be quite alternative in the way that it was kind of lovelorn and struggle again in a mental health sort of way with loneliness and such. So maybe some people that are alternative might be interested in it as well. If you're an old Smiths fan, maybe, and The Cure and James and all of that, maybe.
So it sounds like then you've had pretty much of a lifelong journey through mental health and various personal instances.
Yep.
What would you say to those out there who feel alone with their mental health?
Life's up and down, and you will be alone at times, and life will be hard, and nobody said life would be easy. One of the poems in here is called "Nobody Said Life Would Be Free of Woe."
Okay. And again, with your patriotic and your campaigning and what have you, what would you say to those who are afraid to be patriotic?
Oh, it's not a time for that now. You're not alone. There is absolutely masses of people out there that feel that way. We've been made to feel alone for a long time, so never think that you're alone and you're the only one doing this and saying this. And have hope. We're in a period now where hope is coming through. I'd not seen it for a long time. Like I say, I campaigned really hard years ago. Up until 2016, very active I was, and most people were just eyes glazed over when I talked to them, and people were terrified of it, and hardly anybody would stand up. Now, all of a sudden, things are happening, things are changing. So have hope and have a backbone. Get yourself a backbone and don't be afraid.
So just with a little bit of light-heartedness now. What's the oddest place you've written a poem? Bath, bus, fair ride?
The oddest place? The oddest place I've written a poem is in my mind, I think, which is a very odd place to some people.
So is there any quirky writing rituals? Do you have a specific pen? Do you wear your special socks? Is there a mandatory snack that you eat while you're writing?
I have to be alone. That's the ritual of it. Is I work best when I'm on my own. I'll often make sure I'm on my own because that's when I'm at my best with creativity.
All right. What's the strangest or funniest reaction to one of your poems, either face-to-face or comments on social media?
The only strangeness I get is my reaction to people coming and telling me that that's really good. But yeah, so it's very strange when people say, "Wow, I like that."
That's it. That's all I've got. I'm done.
That's great. Thank you so much, Rick.
It's all right.